Perfecto, pues ahora estamos de regreso con ustedes en esto que es A las Brasas con Dan Wilson de Semisonic. ¿Se acuerdan ustedes de Secret Smile,
varias
Closing
clásicas,
Time,
varias
Fascinating New Thing, Chemistry? Bueno, acaba de sacar un disco de solista, así que lo tenemos en la línea en vivo desde Minneapolis. Dan, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for taking the call. It's a great honor for us to have you here with us.
I appreciate that. I'm glad to be there with you.
Thank you so much for giving us this interview, Dan. I'm Hector.
Cool, man.
Please tell us, where do you find the inspiration to write your songs? In memories, everyday life, things you read, places you travel to? I'll translate really quickly the question I just asked you. ¿Dónde encuentras, Dan, la inspiración para escribir tus canciones? ¿En memorias, en tu vida diaria, en cosas que lees, en lugares a los que viajas?
I find that inspirations from songs come from whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I'm obsessed with at the moment, and it's often something. The title is often something that somebody says in a conversation, and it turns into a song.
Dan nos dice que su inspiración viene de cualquier pensamiento, de cualquier obsesión que esté teniendo, y que los títulos de estas canciones generalmente surgen de una conversación que esté teniendo con alguien y que lo lleva a recordar esos pensamientos y esas obsesiones.
Bueno, y Dan, when you write songs, do you go back to them a lot? Do you make big changes or do you prefer to stick to your original ideas? Le preguntamos a Dan si cuando él escribe canciones regresa mucho a ellas para trabajarlas o más bien prefiere mantener las ideas originales.
That's a cool question. It really depends on the song. My favorite songs are usually the ones that finish themselves very quickly, and I never feel the need to go back to them. But then there are others that you know that might just not be ready to be born yet, and I just have to kind of keep trying, and maybe even put it away for a few months and then come back to it.
Dan nos dice que que él prefiere las canciones que se acaban rápido, aquellas canciones a las cuales no tiene que regresar tanto porque significa que ya están más moldeadas, y que por otra parte hay canciones que le cuestan un poco más de trabajo y que siente que él todavía no están listas, digamos, para ver la luz, y por ello tiene que trabajar más en ellas. Dan, recently in an interview last year, Neil Young said that he no longer believed that a song could change the world. Similarly, a Mexican writer, Carlos Fuentes, expressed that art itself cannot solve social problems. What do you think of that? Le estamos preguntando a Dan qué opina del comentario que hizo Neil Young el año pasado en torno a que una sola canción no puede cambiar al mundo. Algo similar que dijo Carlos Fuentes, diciendo que el arte por sí solo no podía mejorar los problemas sociales del mundo.
I think that a song. I don't think a song can change the world. I think people can change the world. But I think one of the magic effects of a great song, it can clarify how we feel about something. It can make it suddenly very obvious that action needs to happen. And sometimes I think, you know, a song is more like a call to action than you know, changing the world in itself. But I think it can be part of the process. I don't agree with Neil Young. I think he has changed the world many times with his songs, and he has songs that are going to keep changing the world in the future.
Bueno, Dan nos dice que él no cree que una canción en sí pueda cambiar el mundo. Más bien las canciones clarifican las ideas que un individuo puede expresar, que las personas son las que cambian al mundo. Y que más bien las canciones llaman a la acción. Por otra parte, sobre el comentario de Neil Young, menciona que que Neil Young mismo tiene muchas canciones que han cambiado al mundo, y que por ello yo creo que cree que las canciones sí pueden cambiar de cierta forma, y que las canciones de Neil Young van a seguir cambiando ciertas cosas en el mundo.
And Dan, could you please tell us what you studied at Harvard University, and when did the idea to dedicate your life to music appear? Le pregunto a Dan qué estudió en la Universidad de Harvard y cuándo surgió la idea para dedicar su vida a la música.
You know, I think I decided to be a songwriter when I was about 11 years old, and then I tried a lot of other things. I tried for a while to study architecture, and I tried to study other things, and I just kept coming back to music. I couldn't turn away from it, even though I think I tried to turn away.
And when you were in Harvard University, what did you study there? What was your major called?
I was a visual arts major. I studied a lot of history of science, but I also I majored in visual arts.
Bueno, Dan, quien es un egresado de la Universidad de Harvard, nos dice que estudió artes visuales, mucha historia cuando estaba en la Universidad de Harvard, y en realidad su decisión para dedicarse a la música surgió a los 11 años. También pensó dedicarse a la arquitectura, pero simplemente seguía regresando a la música.
Dan, what do you think of Barack Obama? Do you really believe that he, as he has said in his inauguration speech, can start an age of responsibility in U.S. foreign policy? Pregunto si él cree que Barack Obama realmente va a cambiar la estructura de las relaciones externas de Estados Unidos.
Well, I can, in my personal opinion, I think it can only get better than it has been for many years. So, it's the same thing as like what I said about songs. Barack Obama can't change the world by inspiring people, but he can, if he inspires people to live differently and to look at the world differently, then indirectly he is going to change the world, and I have a lot of hope about that.
Dan nos cuenta que él no cree que, como dijo con las canciones, que solamente Barack Obama puede cambiar al mundo, pero que sí las cosas van a mejorar a través de él, que ya no podían estar peor, y que es a través de él justamente que puede haber un cambio en el futuro.
And Dan, please tell us, what impression did Mexico leave you? Do you have plans on coming back? ¿Qué impresión tienes, Dan, de México? ¿Tienes algún plan para regresar?
Well, Semisonic played a show in Mexico City, and it was like a dream. It was really, really a beautiful show, and the crowd was so musical. And I remember the cigarette lighters flicking on and off to the beat of the music. We don't do that in America, and there was something so beautiful about it. And I really do hope that my record can come out in Mexico, and that I could go there. It really was a wonderful visit.
Dan dice que cuando Semisonic vino a México, el concierto fue como un sueño. Era un público muy musical que seguía las canciones con el ritmo de las canciones con sus encendedores. Entonces que realmente espera tener la oportunidad de regresar a presentar este nuevo álbum de solista.
Dan, well, I shared that dream. I was there. It was great. And in that same pattern, what has been the greatest moment in your career? De pronto, Dan, ¿cuál ha sido el momento más importante de su carrera?
It's it's hard to boil it down to one moment. Although when I won the Grammy Award with the Dixie Chicks for Not Ready to Make Nice, it felt like a lot of different things were coming together in one place and at one time. And I guess if I were to choose a moment from my career that was that felt momentous, it may have been that, or possibly writing a song with Carole King might have been the most momentous.
Wow. Bueno, Dan comenta que de los mejores momentos de su vida fue escribir este disco con las Dixie Chicks, con el que ganó un Grammy por Not Ready to Make Nice, y que por otro lado también cuando escribió con Carole King, él escribió una canción que se llama One True Love para su disco de Chemistry con Carole King. Y lastly, Dan Wilson, tell us a little bit about your recent album and your future plans. Do you plan on releasing a new album? Do you plan to continue with Semisonic at some point? Le pregunto a Dan Wilson que si nos puede contar un poquito de su último disco, de sus planes futuros, si planea seguir como solista, lanzar otro disco, o quizás regresar con Semisonic.
Well, Free Life is coming out in various places in Europe. I'm going to continue visiting the countries where it's released. I still feel like it's a statement of where I am as an artist, and at the same time I've written many songs for my next album, and I suppose that will come out sometime within the next year. And meanwhile I'm collaborating with as many geniuses as I